Hello Disney fans! With Mulan being set for a digital release rather than a cinema release, halting my return to work to the cinema, I thought it's about time to do my research on Mulan and start theorising. So, I believe Mulan had extra help. Maybe she didn't even realise it. So, Mushu is her guardian, right? But considering that Mulan had an improbable job ahead of her, unlikely to survive. And let's face it, Mushu, despite how lovable he is, wasn't really the best at his job. But luckily for Mulan, he wasn't the only guardian helping her on her mission. Oh no, I put it to you, her other guardian was, drumroll please, Khan. Yeah, seriously, the horse. So to start with, to begin to understand this theory, we need to look at how the story would have played out if Mulan didn't change anything. So, the Huns attack China. China plans to respond but needs to build up their forces, and so calls upon the men of each family to fight and defend China. Mulan's father offers himself to the cause. China accepts him into the ranks, not just as a sword, but because he is a war hero. He would bring with him a great morale boost just being there. You gotta remember, not only did the general recognise Mulan's family name, but so did his advisor. And they were disapproving of Ping. But if Mulan didn't take his place, then it would be her father that would be going to war. And just like with Mulan, the ancestors would have assigned him a guardian. Hard choice considering he's permanently wounded, but with his struggles in mobility, that choice was made easier. To aid him with a horse, or maybe the guardian was already assigned to him since, you know, he's a war hero and all. And Mulan was able to keep Mushu in the second film, so why couldn't Fa Zhou? However, Fa Zhou did not go to war because Mulan unexpectedly changed this course out of fear. However, I'm not going to go any further on the idea of what would have happened if Mulan hadn't gone to war, but there are more fan theories, and if you'd like to see them, check out my other video where I've got 10 fan theories of Mulan. So we're still going to continue with this theory. And while Mulan changed this course, Mulan's grandmother requested that the ancestors to decide a new guardian specifically for Mulan. There's no denying the fact that Mushu is a guardian, but he has a bad reputation and the ancestors show him no respect, even demoting him from what was likely a statue among the other guardians to a mere ashtray. And that's not surprising really. I mean, one of the people he was meant to be guarding and protecting was Fa Ding, who is among the ancestors, as a beheaded spirit. But this wasn't his only failure, and yet Mushu still seems to think that he's the best option for the job, considering this conversation actually happened.
We must send the most powerful of all. Okay, I get the drift, I'll go.
So he clearly thinks highly of himself, and maybe that's what causes most of his mistakes. I mean, he also destroys the Great Stone Dragon after their already bad opinion of him. And this is because of his carelessness. Simply because he was annoyed at the ancestors' decision, which they chose not only because Mulan needs aid fighting a battle that's practically a suicide mission, but also against China, because her actions break the law, and the consequence of that is death, as well as dishonouring the family. Now I am sure that the Great Stone Dragon would have greatly increased Mulan's chances to save China without getting caught. Definitely more so than Mushu did. Heck, she'd have even been better off solo than with Mushu. The amount of times that Mushu led her to danger instead of protecting her shows just how little he is worthy of being a guardian. He attempts to cheat during her training to make her look good, but instead it makes her look worse, many times over. Luckily, she learns that Mushu doesn't give the best advice, and figures it out by herself, and only then does she become respected and a role model for the group. Mushu then forges a letter that puts Mulan's group on the front lines, and despite their improvements, Even Shang thinks that they are not ready yet for battle. So again, Mushu is putting his selfish obsession before Mulan's safety. But luck would have it that they arrived too late, and the battle was over, which only proves again that this was a dangerous decision because China's forces lost the battle. And then later he also alerted the Huns to the group's location in the mountains through his careless actions. And even after all of this, Mushu does nothing to protect her. Even when Mulan is discovered to be a woman and Li Shang draws his sword, not knowing that he would spare Mulan's life despite the law. It is only towards the end of the film that Mushu finally helps Mulan with her goals, and not just his own. So, what about Khan? He's just a horse, right? Well, that doesn't exactly seem to be the case. As soon as Mushu reveals himself to Mulan, Khan stomps all over him, which is very disrespectful, and it doesn't make sense that a horse would do this, unless Khan is aware of Mushu's failures, and the only way he'd be aware of this is if he is aware of the ancestors, which again, he would only be aware of that if he was a guardian. So just like the ancestors, he is aware that Mushu is not right for Mulan, and the past consequences he has led the ancestors to. However, what convinces me more is the scenes where Mulan is actually in danger. And we already know that Mushu doesn't care much for Mulan, more about himself in these situations. Khan, on the other hand, definitely worries about Mulan and is concerned for her safety. More so than a horse should be. Even when Mulan fails the matchmaker's test, even then Khan shows empathy towards Mulan. It's not just empathy, it's understanding the situation around him and everything that's going on and how that makes people feel. But the best evidence to support this theory comes from the avalanche scene, where Khan becomes a super horse. So, Mulan grabs the rocket, takes it towards the Huns, running head first, digs the rocket into the ground, fires it towards the mountain, the ice falls down, creating an avalanche, and Mushu is not worried about Mulan. Khan is. He's being held back by someone and fights free to run towards danger to save her, rushing towards an oncoming avalanche, and hundreds of Huns and their horses are swept under the snow. Khan is able to fight against the forces of an avalanche. Alright, I know this is just some sort of Disney or cartoon magic, and I'm being too picky, and that's Berryman's job, and I would agree with that. But, as I said earlier, many of those Huns were also on horseback, and you're seriously telling me that none of their horses could do this? But Khan can? And as we said with Mushu earlier, when Li Shang draws his sword against Mulan after finding out she's a woman, it's Khan that struggles, trying to protect Mulan at all costs, even keeping her warm later on in the snowy mountains. And Khan is even able to express himself more so than other animals, laughing at Mulan, rolling his eyes, and later in the film, bows to her after she saves China. Okay, so that's what happens, but is there anything else to suggest that Khan is actually a guardian? Well, it just so happens there is. Did you notice when the ancestors was choosing which guardians should be chosen to send after Mulan, they mentioned the most cunning, the swiftest, the wisest, until they decide on the most powerful. But these are also animals. In fact, they're the Chinese Zodiac, which shows the statue of a rooster, an ox, a monkey, a rabbit, a dragon, a goat, and a tiger. Now there are still a couple missing, but one of which is a horse. But what about there being two dragons? Mushu and the Great Stone Dragon. Well, this is assuming that the Great Stone Dragon is a real guardian because he didn't really wake up. If so, then Mushu is just the snake, according to the Chinese Zodiac. So Mushu was a snake with legs and has dragon envy. But Mushu does breathe fire and can apparently change his size. And he has exaggerated before. And even though he claims to be a dragon, that could still be true, I mean, there's no reason to assume there couldn't be two dragons. Or maybe the Great Stone Dragon died during the previous war with Fazu, and therefore Mushu could be a new dragon that was given to them as guardians. But I'm probably going a bit too far there, so I'll just assume that there are two dragons. But again, considering Mushu destroyed it, doesn't that mean he killed the Great Stone Dragon? Surely that's a bad thing. Like, seriously bad. Then why is it never addressed again? Clearly he didn't do anything too wrong here. So either the Great Stone Dragon isn't actually a guardian, so then there might not be a Great Stone Dragon at all. But if so, why would the ancestors ask him to awaken him? Unless Mushu, in his careless moment, went to the wrong monument, which may answer why the dragon didn't awaken. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't put it past him. Which only reinforces why he has such a bad reputation. I mean, he couldn't even get that right. So, to sum it all up, Khan the horse was assigned to protect Fazu in the upcoming war to defend China, or in the previous battles, and continues to care for him. Mulan unknowingly takes Khan. The grandmother asks for help from the ancestors and they send the Great Stone Dragon, but Mushu takes his place. Khan protects Mulan through the film, acting as her guardian to also uphold the family honour. So Khan is the worthy guardian of Mulan. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think Khan is just a mere horse that can withstand an avalanche and showing human emotions, risking his life just to save Mulan on many occasions? And let me know what you want to see next, and then you'll have to subscribe with notifications turned on so that you can see your requested video. And have a great day, and I'll see you next time with a brand new video.